Hello everybody. Today I would like to share a little bit more complicated drawing. We started with I think 5 cards and we ended up with 12. So it's gonna be a little bit longer than usual because there is more than just 2 cards to explain. But I've been asked by some of you privately to go a little bit more into depth about how and where I put the cards and what does it mean if I put one on top of another. So this is something that I would like to explain as well. And I've been asked as well to go a little bit more in depth because some of you apparently are interested to go a little bit deeper in the cards, to maybe explain a little bit card by card, at least of the major arcana, which will be first before we can enter into the minors. So yeah, I'm happy to comply. So that would be another series that I will start next time. Right, so to close this drawing example series, today I'm gonna have a more complicated drawing for you. So this video is about my friend. We did the second drawing example about this. If you don't remember, please watch the video. So this friend of mine who is on a spiritual path met a girl who had to leave. And I told him basically in the first drawing that, stop it right now because there is no future and it is just a matter of distraction. Your ego is kind of trying to evade the meditation and so on. Of course, and I said that in my first video, he didn't really want to listen. He was he wanted so much to give his heart away. So he kept going with that relationship. Whatever that was, a friendship or a little bit more and so on, nothing really defined, but she left because she had to leave. She had to go home to take care of some family issues. And they kept on going with the communication via WhatsApp and Skype. So we drew again the cards about 3 weeks later on his request to see, well, what's going on now, because there were days where there were nice conversations and there were days there were very short conversations and he kind of didn't know what was going on. Is she still interested? Is she not? And so on. So right. Now you asked me, where do I put the cards? There is no rule really. I put on one line usually the questions that I have, and then I will put underneath more details and on top solutions. So this is how I work normally, but there is no rule. As long as you have an intention for each card and that it makes sense for you, it works basically. So this time, and this is a drawing I never did really, but I just tried. I put him on the left and I put the girl on the right, and I put them quite far away because of course she's in a different country, and I thought let's just put them very far away because I wanted to see what was her situation and what was his. So I had them very separate. So you can see the picture there. So him, my friend, and the girl, and then what is his situation? What is what he wants to give? And on the other side, next to the girl, and I put it to the left just because I wanted to find a middle point, him, her, and what is between them. So that is why I allocated them that way. But again, there is no real rule about that. Some have rules and some have different, very complicated, this has to be there, but I don't. I just go with what I feel and what can help me. So on the right to my friend, what does he want to give? What can he give? And on the other side, what is the girl's situation? I told you I don't usually ask about the third person. I did here just because I thought it was maybe important. If the tarot wants to tell us something, if the information that comes out there is relevant, then it is useful for my friend. So it's not a meaning of gossiping or so on. It is just to, understand what's going on. Right, so we have here those 4 cards, and I put in the middle what is in between them, what is actually the relation or the energy that is between them. So we started with those 5 cards. I'm going to start with my friend. So my friend is the Ace of Wands, and we saw wands were the action, you know, and one is the initiation of something. So he really was, and that I want to make this work. I really want to have something grow out of there. Like this wood, you know, he really was very anxious to make something happen there, and he was ready to give everything. And if I say everything, I mean the physical part of it. You know, you want me to send you something, I send you something. You want me to write you something, I write you something. So very much in the action. He was, yeah. So I think that picture, that Ace of Wands is very powerful picture. You know, you have like, wow, this energy coming from that wand. And what did he have to give, or what was the problem there, or what? Give me just an information. That is him. The wands is him, but what is him in relation to her? And I drew the 7 of Swords, but it is inverted. So I told you the inverted cards are where there is a problem. It is not well experienced, not well lived. So it is not necessarily the contrary of a card, which would be in a normal side. It is inverted, so it is complicated, and it usually asks for a correction. It asks for a card on top to tell me how can I turn this card around. And the 7 of Swords is normally the 7 is stability. You know, it's I know where I'm going. I found my place. And inverted, here I had the feeling that, and the swords are, as we said, strategy, thoughts. And it was kind of telling he doesn't know how, he doesn't find the way and his place in a strategic way to make this happen, to make this will of creating something happen. He confirmed this. He said, yes, he feels so helpless because over WhatsApp, what can you do? You know, there was this distance in between them, and he just didn't know. He tried. He said, if I'm nice, if I'm firm, if I'm this, if I'm that, I don't know. I don't know how. He was kind of desperate to make it work. And so it was the strategy, the thoughts, the swords, causing him problem there. So we will correct it later. That's not something I would like to focus on right now. But yeah, so this was his side. Now let's look on the other side, the girl. The girl came out as the moon. Now the moon, if you have a look very well at that card, it is not a very easy card. It is a very foggy card. And it is very difficult to read because it does kind of make interferences in your subconscious, because it is the moon, everything that is in your moon. If you have a look, the moon is actually covering the sun there. You can see those red beams, and those are the beams of the sun. And you have the blue beams on the top, which are the ones from the moon. So the moon is obstructing the sun, like an eclipse. And therefore it does take away everything that is clear. The moon always represents everything that is very foggy, very not well understandable, everything that is so deep in your consciousness that it is confusing you. So usually when I draw that card, I'm kind of sensing, wow, this person is going through something. You know, there is something to work on in the traumas. It also represents the mother, because the moon is feminine. So there was something, she was, and usually when people are in the moon For me, it means they don't have time for anything else. You know, they really have to confront things and they're in a lot of confusion. I thought, you know, she is in a very different energy than you are. You are the ace of wands, you know, you really want to make that happen. But she is at the moment in a very different world, in a very different place, a very different energy. She is working on something. She is confronting, like those two dogs, she's confronting herself with something very confusing, very traumatic for her, and something that she doesn't really understand maybe very well, because it is so deep inside and so deep underneath the water that yeah, it is complicated for her. So what does she have to give? What you know, the moon is her, but what is her in relation to him? So I put this card, which is the inverted Nine of Pentacles. Now, the 9 is not an active number. 9 is the energy of the hermit. So it is someone who is retreating. It's someone who is you know, occupied with himself at the moment. And the pentacles talk about interchange, communication, exchange, you know. And it is inverted again. So there is a blockage there. And for me, that was very clear that she had nothing to give him at the moment. She doesn't know how. There is nothing at the moment. There is no gold, no coins. There is nothing that she can give him at the moment. She needs them for herself, like the hermit who retrieves into a cave. That is the number 9. The hermit. So that's the energy translated in that minor. She had to keep them for herself, the energy for herself, because she has to deal with that moon. So there was nothing that she had to give. Right, so in the middle, I put what is between them, what energy is between them. And I drew the 6 of Cups inverted. Again, we have that card quite a lot. 6 of Cups is that impossibility to choose between yes and no, between one thing and another. And this is emotionally. And it is inverted, so it means that it is not well accepted. It actually represents a problem for them. It's not something like, well, let's see, it was a problem. And I think for both of them, but yeah, I think for both of them. I don't know her at all. I've never seen her, never spoken to her, but the feeling I had, and then when I see that moon, you know, that is like, of course, you know, very complicated. Right, so how can I help my friend? Because that's okay, that's a fact. We have seen the panorama. Now what can he do? Now I don't correct the Ace of Wands because it is not inverted. It is straight, and I think it gives us enough information. We could put another card. So if I put another card, you know, telling the tarot, give me a little bit more information that is not enough for me, then I would put it underneath or on top of it. I try to keep, you know, one column for one energy, for one aspect. Not, you know, on the horizontal part for me is more like the timeline or the different aspects, and if I want to have more precision on one aspect, I will work from top or bottom of the original cards. That's how I work. Because it makes the picture clearer. It's not because it is a convention of the tarot. As again, everyone does how they feel it and how it works for them. So we put a card on top. How can I correct that? And these cards are always straight. Even if they come out inverted, I will put them around to be straight, because I don't want to see what the situation is. I want a solution. So the correction cards will always be straight. So here for the correction, we drew the star. And the star is a card that talks of liberation. This woman is pouring water from her jars into the river. She is eliminating, you know, like some people take detox tea to get rid of the water that they accumulate in the body. She's doing that as well with those jars. So she is pouring water out of her jars into the river. She is letting go. She is liberating. Sorry. I'm very sorry, but that was it. And it was kind of also already what we discussed in the first drawing. And it came again, like, let go, let go. At least for the moment, let go, because it made him suffer. He was really suffering. He was panicking. He was anxious. He didn't know what to write to her, how to write to her. So it was a situation of pain for him, and that is the ego. Everything that is pain is ego. So yeah. So the tarot told him to let go, to go with the flow, to just liberate that wish of him to absolutely and no matter what stay in touch with her, keep her, create something even though it is on the distance. And that is something that he had to just let go. Right, but this wasn't enough really for him. Understandable, and he wanted to know a bit more, and you know, but if I, and I said, I'm not gonna draw another card for you because I think the tarot tells us enough. But let's see for her. So I did enter a little bit more into her space because I thought that could help him understand her state of mind. So I put a card to give me a little bit more information about those traumas, about that everything that she had to live in that moon. So I put a card on top, not to correct, but just to give me more information. I could have put it underneath it. That would usually be my system, but it makes it easier as well on that platform to show you. So I put a card on top, and it was the 3 of Wands. So I said, well, she's very busy. The Wands is action, and the 3 represents the mother. It is the energy of the Empress, so it is the mother. And I said, I don't know, she went home for family issues. So I said, well, there must be something with her mother. She must be working something out with her. And he confirmed. He didn't give me a lot of details, so I'm not really so much into that story. I don't need to, but it was something, yes, she had to kind of take care of her mother. And you know, all of us have problems with our mothers. My therapist said we have 80% of our problems coming from the mother and 20% from the father. So everyone, every human being. And no matter how beautiful the mother was and how cruel the mother was, whatever, they can do the best job ever, and we will still have 80% of our problems coming from mom. So there was something, I don't know. I said, well, she is working on something that is, you know, comes from her childhood and that is difficult. And he kind of confirmed that. All right then, I corrected though the 9 of Pentacles because it is inverted, so the tarot asks us for some information there. And I drew the 2 of Wands, a lot of Wands. I thought, well, she's really busy over there in her hometown. And the 2 is the Popes. And the Popes is a little bit like the Hermit. They are cards that go much into themselves. They are meditating. They are not giving to the world at all. And so together with the Nine of Pentacles, which is already the Hermit as well, not being able to give anything, that the energy that she has, she needs it for herself. And the Two of Wands said the same thing. The physical energy that she has, she needs for herself, to retreat, to work on herself. He confirmed as well, he said that she was very tired, she didn't sleep a lot, so she was in a bad mood sometimes, and she was very angry, and which would be the moon, being angry would be the moon, being confronted, you know, with certain situations that you don't really want to see most of the time. And so we talked and we talked and we talked about those 4 cards, because there is so much to say about it. And I just stopped and I said, well, do you see how busy she is and how impossible it is for her to give you anything at the moment? Right, so he was still very unhappy. And as I told you, I don't like to have my people who come with me, or this was on a distance, but I don't like them to leave without something positive. So I was desperate to look for something positive in there, because it was, look at the facts, she, you know. And I tried to explain to him, put yourself in her shoes. You have to go home, take care of family business. So you're changing country, you're going back in time as well, because you're confronted maybe to your hometown and to your school friends and everything that you have left behind. And then you have troubles with your mother, and you're very busy, and like, you know, this whole world of, yeah, I'm in love and I'm spiritual, it is a little bit put on the side for the moment. So I tried to find a little bit of a positive thing, and I put another card in the middle. I just said, Tarot, just give me something, some information helpful. I didn't know what. So just give me something between them, and this impossibility of taking a decision for yes or no. Give me something useful for my friend. And I drew the Lovers, and that was, I said, just thank you. That really meant for me that there was love. He was not imagining it. And I told him there was really something going on. There was a beginning, there was a spark of love. It wasn't just fun, it wasn't just a hobby for her, it wasn't just I'm bored, let's get someone, you know. There was really something. But with the situation changing, well, it all changed, but it has nothing to do with him. And I think that information was very helpful for him. That kind of calmed him down and said, okay, I it's just fate, you know. But there was something. Yes, there was something. There was love. There was a spark of love. It could have been something more serious, but the universe sometimes has other plans for us. But it kind of helped him to say he wasn't just being fooled around with. Right, and at the end I did something that I usually never do. I drew a card for the future. I put that card in the middle underneath all the other cards, because it concerned the relationship that they had. I didn't put it underneath my friend or next to my friend, because it wasn't, you know, it was still related to this relationship. How is that gonna continue? What is in the future for them? And I thought, I'm gonna draw the card, I'm not gonna tell him. And if it's relevant, I will tell him, and if it's not, I will not. And I drew number 13. So number 13 is usually called death, but this card doesn't have the word death on it. Actually, it's called the Arcana without a name. It is just number 13, because it does not represent death. It does represent a lot of things: ending of cycles, putting a stop to it, making a clear cut to anything. So it's not necessary. It's death in a figurative way, often. And I asked him, "Do you really want to know?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I said, "Do you really?" Yes. Okay. So I told him, for me, there is no future. And it is something that he better gets rid of quickly, you know, like like a band-aid, you know, the quicker the better. It is not I'm not saying cut off communication, I'm not saying cut off friendship, but cut for yourself. And the Six of Cups, those emotions, and I don't know where to put them. Stop with that. Stop with that. That it is not going anywhere, and it just makes you suffer, and it makes her suffer as well. They had kind of an exchange of WhatsApp at some point where she got really angry, because he was like, "Well, where are you?" And she got angry, and he took it a little bit personally. And I said, "Well, look at her. She's the moon. She's the Three of Wands. She's the Two of Wands. She cannot. She cannot take care of you on top of everything that she's dealing with. So stop being the lover. Be a friend if you want, but stop being the lover. It is not working at all at the moment, and it will not work out." Yes, but maybe in the future, then we can draw the cards in 6 months again. But for the moment, the best for you is to cut that off. It is very difficult for people to understand that, you know, yeah, but I want, that's the ego. That's the ego. And he said, "But I really love her." And I said, "No, you don't. If you really loved her, you would support her. You know, you would not put a strain on her. You would maybe listen to her when she is just fed up and tired and exhausted, and maybe give her a little bit of normality in her day by just talking about what you're cooking, you know, being there for her, but not asking anything from her, not putting her in a position where she has to choose, she has to put more energy in you with everything other that she deals with. And the moon is a heavy card, really it is. So I think there was much more ego in there than he wanted to admit. It took him time to understand that. Right, so a very long, actually that was a discussion I had with him for about 2 hours. That was a very long drawing, but this is what it's about, you know. You ask for information and for help, well, here you have it. And we did not gossip about his friend, this girl. But sometimes the tarot actually opens up on those topics because it is relevant. He needed to understand she is in a different place now, and she has a lot to deal with, and there is no space for you. And it doesn't mean that she didn't love you. It doesn't mean that everything that you lived through wasn't real, but get on, you know. Don't hang on to those things. It is distraction, and it becomes suffering. So stop with it. So I hope that gave you a little bit of more insight, and I will do my next videos with a little bit more technique and maybe meanings of the different cards. I'm not sure I'm gonna start with 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, because I think that's a bit boring. Maybe we will just go, I don't know yet. I have no plan. I have to figure something out for you. But yeah, sure, happy to do that. And any other suggestions, most of you have my email. If not, then you can comment underneath the videos, and I will comply, of course. So have a good evening. Thank you. Bye.